Okay, you guys want to see a bunch of barn finds? Well, they're inside this building, Signature Auto. It's about 5 miles east of the Columbus, Ohio airport. Yeah, it's a restoration place, but the owner, Rick Parker, also collects cars. He got into the business as an enthusiast. The cars he likes are muscle Mustangs and Fords. There you see some right there in that little poster. Those happen to be all my pictures. I've done a lot of features here, but I've done even more barn finds. Like this Mustang, believe it or not, is a barn find. All I did was clean it up. We're going to show you all these cars. Now this is a showroom where anybody can go in, but once you get back to the shop back here, and that's a Pinto, there's a story to that. But when we get back to the shop here, there's a Boss 429 on the left, but there's also a bunch of cars back over there we're going to show you. Now there's Larry Markham carrying that bumper. He's the head restoration specialist here. He's been 19 years with Signature Auto, also known as bosscars.com. Oh, look at that. There's a find. There's a cool car. Tell you about that in a minute. But coming up to the counter here, there's Rick Parker on that stool talking with Larry. And, well, I'll let Rick take you around and he'll show you all these barn finds and what this place is about. This is our lobby area. This is a original 66 K-Code coupe that you did a rare find on in 2003. A gentleman bought it brand new and put it away in the early 70s. Now the only thing we did was clean it up and put it in the showroom here when we moved in. Over here is my wife Jackie. She handles all the day-to-day operations.
Hi guys.
She's in there doing her job.
Okay. And
then through here, this takes us back to where we do our restoration and our car collecting. Here of all things is a 72 Pinto that we purchased. I rode around in one in high school, so I thought it'd be nice to have an original car. Nobody's cut up or rusted to the ground yet. And then on this side is some of the original Ford Autolite parts that we collect through the years. This is a lot of these things you would have saw at the dealership back in the 60s and 70s. And then coming to the back of the shop, this car here is a very special car. This is a car that my wife and I, we've had 30-some years. It's a 11,200 mile original Boss 429. It's never been painted. We've tried to keep it original through the years. It's not restored. And then this Boss 429 is an early 69. I was around this car as a young man. My father knew the owners of it. They drag raced it. I found it. Brought it back to life as a cool street car. This is an old hearse display that my father had in his auto parts store. It showed how the hearse shifters would work and how reliable they were compared to a original shifter. Over here is just a Firestone display with some tires. And then we start back to some of the specialty cars and some of the barn finds. This is a K-Code coupe that we found about 20 years ago. Brought it back to life. It's a 64 and a half red car with a factory red and white interior. And then behind you here is a 66 Shelby GT350 Hertz car. We call this my wife's car. It's a very special car to us. This is an original 20,000 mile Boss 302 that I've had about 19 years. The car next to it is a dark moss green 67 GT350 4-speed Shelby. This is a candy apple red 69 Mach 1. This is a drag pack car, Super Cobra Jet. It's 4-speed and it's a 430 gear car. Behind it is a Calypso Coral 69 Boss 302. It was in one of your magazines about 12 years ago. It's numbers matching, 4-speed, deluxe interior, tilt wheel. Fun car to be in. This is a dark moss green 67 GT500 that we restored about 7 years ago. It's a 428 2.4 barrel automatic car. Over here is a very special car. This is a 70 Sport Roof, very plain and simple, not a Mach 1, but it's 428 Super Cobra Jet, 430 gear,
built in San Jose, California. This is a 69 winter blue 428 GT. It's winter blue with blue interior. We restored this approximately 4 or 5 years ago. This here is a car that we just did some paint work on. It's a 71 Boss 351, yellow black interior, 4-speed. And right behind you here is a very special car. This is a 70 Cobra Jet 4-speed convertible, very low production, numbers matching. We restored this about 8 years ago, but it's 428 4-speed Ram Air and a convertible. This is a favorite car of mine here. This is a 70, it's light ivory yellow with ginger interior, but it's a 351 Cleveland 4-speed with air, so fun car to run around in. This is a 69 Cobra Jet triple black convertible that we restored probably 23, 24 years ago. And behind you is a GT500 68 KR Shelby convertible. It's candy apple red, black interior, but this is a 4-speed car with factory air condition. Very rare car, very desirable Shelby. This is one that needs a little bit of loving. This is also a KR GT500 convertible. This car is lime green and it's a 4-speed car. This car here is a 69 428 Cobra Jet Ram Air 4-speed, but it's a GT and it is Indian Fire. We just finished this about 10, 11 months ago. This is a car you did a rare find on approximately a year and a half ago. It came out of an air compressor room in Pittsburgh. It's a candy apple red GT500 4-speed, but it's not a KR Shelby. It's a low mileage car that's set most of its life. And this car here come out of Iowa. It's a 70 GT500 4-speed. It's blue now, but the original color is grabber orange with white interior. Just waiting on when we get time to restore this car. And the last car here, this is a Ranchero you did a rare find on several years ago, but it's 429 Ram Air factory 4-speed, and it's a 70 Ranchero. The car on the other side of the wall here, it's a factory black 69 Boss 429. It's KK number 1229, very early. We've been collecting parts for it and we're close to starting on that automobile. And the last car in the row is a 71 J code 429 Mach 1. It's Wimbledon white with ginger interior, but it's a factory Ram Air car, highly optioned with factory air conditioning.
So Rick, is this just your private collection, or some of these cars for sale? A lot of them are barn finds. What's the situation with this collection?
Well, we have a little bit of personal, but the personal collection can change day to day depending on what we find. Obviously, you've seen we have quite a few barn finds. Our goal with those cars are to get them in line and restore them someday. And then a lot of these cars we do sell, we take trades, but we basically stick with just the Ford. Either the Mustang is very popular, or a Trino, or a Fairlane. But no Chevrolets, no Camaros, no Corvettes. We're just 100% Ford.
And then you have a lot of parts too, right?
We have a lot of parts, which we can go that way now if you'd like. This is one of our storage rooms. We try to keep things organized, from rear ends to cylinder heads to interior pieces. Yeah, in our business, we're probably our best customers, so by having all the extra parts and a lot of the original parts, we can always make a car better, meaning take a bad part off, put a better part on.
Okay, what do you have in here?
If we can, let me get, this might be the best shot here. We try to keep every rear end possible, from 9-inch to 8-inch to 28 spline to 31 spline. We keep numerous engine blocks, from Boss 302s to 428s to 429s. We try to keep every dated cylinder head possible. Anytime we're at a swap meet or a flea market, If we can buy something to better a car, we do. Obviously, you end up with extra parts, and we just try to keep it organized. This is a 67 GT Fastback. It's a factory S-code car, which the S-code would be a 390. And we're getting ready to start on it. It got cut apart because of the rust, and now we're going to bring it back to life. Behind it is a 63 Fairlane we purchased down in Tennessee. It's a factory black car, but it's a K-code, which would be a 289 high-performance 4-speed. And if you can imagine this in black, this will be a real pretty car. And this is my manager Larry's Boss 302. This is a lime green 70 Boss 302 that we had dipped and put in primer, and we're close to starting the restoration on it.
What about all these engines around here?
Well, Jerry, this is mostly spare engines that we've collected or purchased. I like to say they're for a rainy day, but you never know what car we might buy next that needs the right dated engine for it.
Like, what's this engine here?
This is just a basic 302 two-barrel. The engine in front of it, that engine goes in a 70 Shelby GT350. It's a 351 Windsor. Here we just have some exhaust that just came off a car. Hate to throw it away. Hopefully somebody could use it. And then under there you'll see Cobra Jet blocks 428, Boss 302 blocks, Boss 429, and a variety of some 289 cylinder heads, extra dash pieces, extra console pieces. Again, we're in a business where you can't throw anything away because you might need it tomorrow.
This is your car collection. What about the rest of the shop? What do you got?
Well, let's go this way. Okay. This here is a 1974 Mustang 2 Pro Stock car that was raced back in the 70s, campaigned. It has a Boss 351 engine in it. Kind of something neat to look at if you're old school, remember the drag racing days. This here is a Casca Boss 429. It's a 2,200 mile car that was used for testing back in the 60s. It's kind of neat the way it is. It's old school, it's never been restored. This back here is a 68 Shelby GT350 convertible, factory black, factory 4-speed, that we just had the engine in and out, serviced it.
That's a customer car?
No, it's one of our cars. And this is a 70 Boss 302 that we did several years ago. It's flip-flip for white interior. The car next to it is a bright gold metallic Boss 302. This was a factory W code, which is a 430 gear. And this car was bright gold metallic with ginger interior. Here you have a Survivor, a 28,000 mile Grabber orange Boss 302. Over here is a factory, well, it's a Grabber blue Boss 429 that belonged to a friend of mine that passed away. He modified it back in the 70s. Not a practical street car because of the carburetor and the gear and the cubic inch. Again, old school. This is a 70 light blue Boss 302 that we're doing some final detail on, getting it ready for a show. And then here is a Grabber blue, which is a great color for Boss 302s. This is a 70 Grabber blue car that just come out of one of our paint shops about 8-9 days ago. Now it's starting to go together, starting to look like a car. The dash is going together. The suspension, you can see the engine is now in the car. And then this is a Survivor Boss 302, original paint, lime green, that we're servicing. I just purchased this out of Hershey, Pennsylvania.
So this is just your car then?
Yeah, yes. And then going over this way is a 70 Flipper Coral Boss 429 that we purchased, and then pulled the engine out of it to do some detail, make things more correct and service it. Took the interior out of it, carpet out of it, had to find a dated windshield for it. So it's on the verge of coming back to life. And this car here is a friend's car. This is a 70 medium blue Mach 1. It's a 428 Ram Air with air conditioning, and starting the procedure on restoration. And this is the bins for these cars. For instance, everybody has about 35 bins.
You mean every car takes 35 bins for the parts, or what?
Yeah, every car that's apart takes approximately 35 bins.
We're going.
Jerry, we're going to introduce you to Blake. Blake is a smart young technician.
Hey Blake, what are you doing?
I do more just general assembly on vehicles, you know, disassembly and assembly. The car will come in, like this car came in and we disassembled it, you know, get it all ready for blasting and paint, and then we sent it off to go get blasted and painted. And then this is what it looks like when it comes back, and I'm just in the process of putting it back together.
Go ahead.
Jerry, this is Sean. Sean's very good at detail. He's got an eye for it, knows correct bolts, correct this, correct plating.
I'm working on this 70 Boss 302. I'm trying to find the correct fan spacer right now.
Okay, so how much of the work are you going to do? You going to assemble it? What are you going to do to it overall?
I'm going to do full assembly on this one. It just came back from the body shop a week or two ago, and we've got a pretty good jump on it, but it's coming together nicely.
Oh, Dave, one of our workers that had to run down to the chrome shop, he processes every nut and bolt here and then sends it out and has them plated, like the phosphate to the CAD to the yellow zinc. So this is all original hardware that you've either taken off a car or somebody's given us. And then if you go this way, you can see most of the phosphate suspension. Up here's all your small parts to the car, already been cleaned, plated, so it doesn't stop us from going forward with a project. This will be your CAD plating. And then you get in here, you'll see Ford didn't use a lot of yellow zinc, the yellow colors, but you can see things like your seatbelt bolts, your hood bumpers, rear end nuts. Here's 4 shocks for that Boss. You can see the shocks are gloss black. The fronts were identified by a white mark and the rears were by an orange mark for the workers. And those will end up on this car, hopefully by the end of the day. Every part that comes off this car, somebody has to deal with it. Meaning if it's a nut or a bolt, it has to be cleaned, bagged, go to the platers, but everything, a decision has to be made for the car and for the customer.
Now, how many of these cars that are restored are yours and how many of them are customers? What's the ratio?
Oh, probably in here today, probably 70% are for me in the business and probably 30% are customers' cars we're doing at the moment. But we also have a lot of cars that aren't here at the present time. We have, I think, 8 or 9 at the paint shop at the moment. So it's a constant, you know, we pick up one, we drop off one, we pick up one, we drop off one. It's like an adult game of monkey move up. And then we'll go in here, this is where, after all of the machine work is done, this is where we'll do the final assembly on the engines and the final details. This is a 66 289 hypo for a 66 Shelby that is coming out of the paint shop very soon. This engine here we just finished. This is a 71 Boss 351. The car is close to coming out of the paint shop. And then this is a 69 Boss 429 that we starting to take apart to get ready to go to the machine shop to see if it needs board, new pistons, camshaft, etc. And then this is a 70 Boss 302 that I just assembled. So now we're getting ready to put the cylinder heads on, the oil pan on, but the pistons are in, crankshaft's in, so it's starting its procedure. This is taking us back up to the office, but here's one of our rooms that we use. This was an office, and we used to store a lot of our parts in. We had just about every carburetor you can imagine for a Ford. We try to keep anything and everything in stock. We keep almost every fuel pump that's dated to the cars. The same way with all the distributors, extra carburetor parts, just anything. Here's extra air cleaners and shakers and things that we use in our daily business. Jerry, this is going into our lunchroom. We did a Hearst wall. Hearst was very popular in the 70s, very colorful. And then this is where the fellows come in. This is where they'll eat lunch. It's a full kitchen, so obviously it gets them away from the shop, and we can have meetings in here and talk about our workload and what's going to get done and a schedule we need to do it in. Okay. This in here is Larry's office. There's Larry.
Let's talk to Larry.
Yeah, Larry's probably doing inventory. He keeps track of everything that goes on here.
Larry, talk to us.
I'm busy.
Good answer. Larry keeps everything moving, coming and going, inventory, knows what we need to order. Couldn't do it without him.
What are you working on now, Larry?
That 70 Mach 1 around the corner. We're putting the order together for it. We went through and looked at what all the customer had, and then what can be used, what can't be used, and then take that and place an order.
What's the specs on that car? What is it?
70 Covered Jet Mach 1 with air.
That's the blue one.
That's like a medium bright blue metallic.
Okay.
That was around the corner. Just come back from paint.
Okay. So how long have you been here? Forever?
Forever. Since we started the business.
19 years ago.
Yeah, 19 years ago. August 28th.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
19
Larry.
years.
Through here, we're back where Jackie's office is. Down through here, this is kind of our wall of fame. Hopefully you recognize most of these articles. You took the pictures and you wrote the articles. Here's a good example. Here's the 68 Shelby that we just talked about on the other side of the building. It's a rare find article. Again, some of the articles you've done through the years. There's the 429 Ranchero back there that you just took pictures of. Here's a Mach 1 that you did a story on that we're in the process of redoing, an original car. This is a promotion.
Wait, is that car out there?
That car's out back, yes. We just pulled the engine out of it.
Oh, it's outside.
Yes, it's outside at the moment.
We'll go look at it.
Okay. This is a promotional Boss 302 that you just saw the engine for in the engine room. Well,
Where are we now?
Well, Jerry, we're outside. We're moving cars around today because we got a non-rain day. This car here is special to my heart. This belonged to a local man that would come in every Thursday and drink a cup of coffee. He actually bought this new, and he was a Xerox copy repairman, but it's a original paint 70 Mach, and it's a 428 drag pack. So can you imagine working out of the trunk of that instead of a minivan maybe? And then this car here, this is a 67 Shelby GT350 4-speed. I was around this car out of high school. It was painted gold. And, tracked it down to redo it and put it back red. We're in that car a lot. It's a lot of fun because it's a small block. And I just bought this car. This is a Survivor Boss 351, but it's pewter with red interior, so it's a perfect Ohio State car. And then I just purchased this yellow Boss. We just got it running, got the motor back together, but this is a 69 yellow 302, black interior. And this is a nice Mach 1 here. This is a Survivor, a 30,000 mile 351, a royal maroon. Just a fun car to run around town in. But again, never been restored yet. It's nice that it survived all these years. And then I know you saw the blue Mach 1 on the wall in there that you did the rare find article on. That car's outside. We just pulled the engine out of it and we went through the 4-speed because it sit most of its life. So our goal with this car is to do some repaired areas and keep it a Survivor. And then that 63 Fairlane there, that's just a 4-door 6-cylinder. We bought it because we needed the bumper brackets, the front bumper, and the heater delete. This will help finish our K-code 63 Fairlane you saw on the other side. And then this is a car, this is a medium chestnut Boss 302 with ginger blazer interior. Kind of a neat combination, different.
Okay, wait.
Oops. Well, like a car like that, some people look at that Mustang convertible as an ugly car. I look at it as a blank canvas. That can be a great car in about a year or so because we don't get lucky to be able to start with something like this. I started because I love the cars, and I started tinkering with cars at home. That led into helping friends on engines and interior and making things correct, going to car shows, and then opened a small business, had about 1,500 square feet, and then a year and a half later that went to 3,200, then it went to 4,800, then 7,000, then 11,000, now we're at 27,000 square feet.